So, good afternoon. Welcome you for this um, study again on the body X-ray, what your body is telling you. And today I want to look at how to deal with some diseases also in line with the body X-ray. Understanding how we need to manage the body in the plan that God had given us in the beginning. So another time we talked about we looked at the cleansing techniques that we need to use. The cleansing techniques we can use during the treatment or protocol treatments. Those techniques are very important to be followed to the latter for you to achieve everything that is going to bring results and also bring healing to those who are sick. The power is gone. Okay, so I'm going to look at the part of diabetes. That's one of the common diseases that manifests itself in different ways. I'm going to share my screen for those who are online. How many remember the signs of diabetes? How do you know that someone is diabetic? What signs and symptoms will tell you that this person is diabetic? Yes.
One of the signs is that if that individual getting the wound, it is very difficult for the wound to heal.
And the wounds are always on the lower extremities. Yes. Yeah, frequent urination. What is the another sign? Profuse sweat at night. What else? What? Yeah, fatigue. So in the morning, and we have the lips are drying out very fast, itchiness. Person becomes so, the bodies become so itchy, and also some pain, some local places, more so on the what? On the shoulders, having pains that do not end easily. Another thing is blood in the urine, not blood, sugar in the urine. If someone goes and urinates and after 5 minutes, you go and find a train of ants, you know that that person may be developing or is having diabetes because the urine is sweet, so the ants will go to feed on it. That's just a very easy way of knowing that someone is diabetic. Loss of vision. Someone begins losing vision and feeling thirsty and urinating frequently, you know that this person is developing diabetes because high sugar makes the nerves, the optic nerves, to be numbed and they cannot receive vision as required. So you need to know what to do. You need to know the right thing. No? If I'm giving us a program, any program I'm giving you, it is like a key to unlocking other diseases. Because the time we are remaining in, I cannot give you everything. But if you understand the principles, you will be able to conquer any disease from them. The principles that needs to be followed. Number one, the person must be taught the laws of health. Principle number one, the laws of health must be taught. The person must pledge himself or herself to follow the laws of health. Nutrition, proper nutrition, that is plant-based diet. And then we have exercise, regular exercise, exercising in the morning and in the evening, and should be brisk walking. And then the person should be drinking enough water every day, plain water. And number four, the person must be obedient to be in the sun. The person must be temperate, choosing that which is right and avoiding that which is bad. The person must rest, proper rest, going to sleep early, before midnight, 2 hours or 3 hours before midnight, not eating late suppers. Yeah, so those principles is the person trusting in divine power. Is he having faith or just coming to try and test you? The person must understand that God wants him or her to follow the laws of God, and by faith is able to follow them. And then another thing is to make sure that the person breathes fresh air. That's why the exercise goes in the morning, is done in the morning and in the evening, not on the roads. Should be maybe in a forest area or in a place that is not having pollution. So the origin of this disease, as is known so far, can be traced back to the derangement of the functions of the pancreas gland. So, but diabetes, the sugar problem, is stemming from the pancreas. And you will know that the person is having a problem with the pancreas if there's a very cruciating pain just below the diaphragm, and it extends to the bowel. So you want to check that. And diabetes is the problem of not even sugar, problem of the pancreas. Then there are three main types of diabetes you will meet after there is type 1 diabetes, there is type 2 diabetes, and number 3, we have gestational diabetes, that is for expectant mothers. And then there is that diabetes that is as a result of an external cause. For example, someone got an injury to the pancreas cannot work well. So that becomes a fourth cause of diabetes. Or someone may have pancreas cancer or tumor that affects, or even growth that affects the normal function of the pancreas. So you must know which type of diabetes you are dealing with. Most people, 90% of the people we meet outside there are having type 1 diabetes. No, sorry, type 2 diabetes. So type 1 diabetes is believed to be an autoimmune condition. It means your immune system destroys the beta cells in your pancreas that produce insulin. The damage is permanent. So you find the immune cells, your B cells and alpha cells are fighting the pancreatic cells, the beta cell, where the insulin is being produced. So what prompts the attack is not clear. It may be both genetic and environmental reasons. It may be the heavy metals, it may be an infection. And then we have type 2 diabetes. Starts out as insulin resistant. Your body cannot pick insulin, yet insulin is produced, but it cannot go to the blood. So when you drink something sweet, the blood is very insulin, but it cannot get into the blood because the receptors are blocked or clogged, and most of the time they are blocked with cholesterol fats. That's why if someone is hypertensive, most likely he will develop diabetes because the fats block the receptors of insulin to the blood. So you get that sugar is there, insulin is there, but it cannot penetrate to the blood. That is type 2 diabetes. And with that, what you have to do is to make sure that that blockage is stopped. Always is as a result of high cholesterol in the system, high fats in the system that blocks the cholesterol, that blocks the insulin receptors so that the insulin cannot get into the blood. Then we have gestational diabetes caused by an insulin blocking hormone that are produced during pregnancy. This type of diabetes only happens during pregnancy, and it is often seen in people with pre-existing prediabetes and a family history of diabetes. So you need yeah, so that's why you've seen some women who are expectant told not to take honey or take sugar cane. That's because it will affect the baby. The problem is the hormone that is going to be produced that blocks the insulin is going to insulin receptors is going to make the person to be having a lot of sugar in the system. Which when the expectant woman can be doing exercise and drinking enough water, sugar cane should not be a problem for you. But if you are not sure of doing enough exercise and eating properly, then you need to resist from the sugar cane. So the general system, signs and symptoms: excessive thirst and hunger. The gestational part. The gestational specifically is one who was conceived and is having a fetus in the stomach. So in that stage, there are some hormones, can be the estrogen or other hormones that are related together that blocks the insulin from getting into your blood. So you get that if the hormones are not balanced during pregnancy, someone can have such problems. So it can be during the expectancy period. Yeah. But if someone's hormones are balanced, there should not be a danger of taking the sugarcane, though with a lot of self-control. Okay. Yeah. So we have dry, itchy skin, drowsiness or fatigue, frequent urination, blood vision, slow healing wounds. Then type 2 can cause discolored patches on the fall of skin in your armpits and neck. Since type 2 diabetes usually takes longer to diagnose, you may feel more symptoms at the time of diagnosis, like pain or numbness in your feet. Those are signs and symptoms of diabetes. So gestational diabetes is a type of diabetes that consists of high blood glucose during pregnancy and is associated with complications to both mother and child. The child may develop having a weak pancreas. So the child will develop type 1 diabetes. It is not dependent on an external insulin, but you find that this child, the pancreas can completely not produce insulin, and that is a danger. Type 2, the pancreas can produce insulin but cannot get into the blood. Type 1, the pancreas cannot produce at all, and so it relies on an external injection of insulin. So this one is not always permanent. It goes away after the birth. Yeah. So if you are an expectant mother and you are having these symptoms, then you will have to eliminate the sugary things in your diet. These are the common symptoms that we've just discussed. And the normal blood sugar before meal should be between 4 to 6 for those who are teens. If it is between 4 to 6, that is a good sugar, a good blood sugar. And even the age between 60 to 80 years, that will be a good range for you. It should not be below 4. If it is below 4, you know that you are going to suffer from hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, which is more dangerous than high blood sugar. Those who are having low blood sugar can die easily than those who have high blood sugar, because sugar, the body operates on glucose. Your cells, your eyes, everything gets its energy from the glucose, and that glucose is gotten from the food you eat. That's why a lot of carbohydrates and starches are needed for those who are doing heavy duties. Your cell needs it, that glucose to operate. Now, if it is above 10, then you know you are pre-diabetic. You're beginning to develop diabetes. If it is above 15, you know that you are inside the diabetic. Between 12 to 15, you are almost becoming a fully fledged diabetic. If it remains there, and you need, when you are testing for blood sugar, you need to be before you eat anything and 5 hours after eating anything. Are we together? Yeah. So those are the things you need to look into in diabetes. You must make sure, you must know the ranges. When you have eaten 2 hours after meal, you know it will increase. Like when we ate in the morning, sweet potatoes. If I would have waited 30 minutes and measured all of us, we will be diabetics. Blood sugar will be high, ranging between 13 to 15, some to 20. Someone may think that you are diabetic. But 5 hours later, it needs to come back to ranging between 4 to 6 or 6 to 8 there, or between 8 to 10, depending on your lifestyle and how your blood sugar is. So you need only to, that's why you need to ask someone, what time did you eat? Yeah, you test someone when he has not taken something, but not even to 5 hours gap for you to know. Now, when you're dealing with diabetes, there is one thing that you need to know, and this goes to all diseases. Follow this principle if you want to be a good medical missionary who want to conquer all diseases. You must have your figures right and all the digits right before you fill them in. So, carbohydrates, someone with blood sugar that has diabetes, the blood glucose levels are high, needs to control starches. Because, for instance, if you take refined products, refined foods, the blood sugar is elevated, very high. For instance, the white sugar, very high, and the pancreas will be forced to produce a lot of insulin, and then that insulin will be too much that it depletes all the sugar, all the blood glucose in the system, so it goes very low again, very fast. And the pancreas again sends, the pituitary gland sends information to the pancreas that the blood is so low, and we produce glucagon. Glucagon, that is a hormone that controls low blood sugar, raises the sugar up very high. And that process of up and down weakens your pancreas, and then it will come a time that your pancreas cannot operate. The danger also comes to those who are using who are depending on the injections, because the injection can bring it too low that the pancreas will not assume its function. So the pancreas become dormant. And then even if you withdraw the person from those drugs, it will take time for the pancreas to adopt. Are we together? That's the danger of the injections and the glucophages and all these drugs that control blood glucose. They bring it too low, even for pressure. It doesn't work the way the body works. When the body is working normally, it will bring it to the normal level. But if you're using the drugs, it brings it too low or take it too high that your body become disordered. So with that makes you to be rendered ineffective. So the glucose, the starches, those who are having blood sugar problem, you must understand this table here. You know, if you take potatoes, your blood sugar will be increased by 1 unit or 10 units, depending on what you're using. So if it were, let's say it was, before you ate, it was 6. If I had one single type of food, maybe like the meal we used in the morning, that was sweet potatoes, it will add it by 10 units. If it was 6, it will be like 1. So I'm using here 10 because the most of the instrument glucometers we use, you find that they are in the scale of 1 to 10. Or 1 to 5, 1 to 5. Yeah, so it adds, if it begins with 5, then 10, then 15, then 25. But there are those that counts from scale 1 to 1. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it ends up to 38 or 40. That's a different scale. So I'm using the one of scale 1 to 10. So if it was 6, if you're using the 1-to-1 scale, it will be 7. It will increase it by 7. Now, if your food was having potatoes and rice and bread and yams at a go, you add all this. This is 30, this is 50, this is 60. So if it was 6, you add 6, so that will be 12. It will be 12. By the time after 2 hours of the meal, it will rise that high. So starches always increase the blood sugar. Now see this. If you have cassava, it will add the blood sugar by 2 units or 20 units. If you have
taro or arrowroot, 20 unit, sugary food, 30 or 20, fried potatoes, 20, and then pasta that is made from wheat. Wheat is number one grain that adds a lot of sugar in the system. It is the top. Those who are taking bread and chapatis and mandazis, if they are diabetic, they increase their levels of glucose. Wheat is number one in the list of grains that have or boost the blood sugars. So we only have millet and sorghum and buckwheat that lowers the blood sugars. If I take buckwheat or I take millet or sorghum, it will help me to lower the blood sugar by 1 unit. Are you getting me? Yeah, so millet and sorghum and buckwheat are very good and safe grains to apply or safe starches to put in your food. Now, if we continue, step number 2. Now here, let me show you another thing again, grains plus 5. So if you had, let's say you have posho and what else? Posho and it may be yellow. The yellow posho is a bit okay if it is organically grown for those who are diabetics, but the white posho increases the blood sugars. So you must make sure that the starches are controlled. If you are going to use white posho, you must mix it with sorghum or millet to help control that blood sugar. This is now the part of nutrition. And we apply it even in every kind of disease. You must know which kind of foods will help me to achieve the result. Are we together? Yeah. Then we have fats and oils and proteins. Flesh meat increases it by 2 units or 20 units. Nuts and seeds, 10 units. Dry beans, 10 units. And then which one else is high? Oil in vegetables and fried soy meat increases it by 20 units. It means, let me give you an example. If I had a plate, this plate has rice. It has beans. It has, let's say, fried vegetable. For the fried vegetable, we have used oil, right? So you're going to put here 20 units because oil is sweeter than normal sugar. You know that when you get to the system? Did you know that? Oil, when it is converted in the body to glycerol, it is sweeter than this regular refined sugar in the shop. You need to know that. Yeah, that is why we are told to control, those who are diabetic are told to control sugar, because when it is converted in the system into glycerol, glycerol is sweeter than the refined sugar. And more so if it is fried. Anything that is fried increases the blood sugar by 20 units. So if you have rice, we said it is increasing by 10 units. So rice 10. And in the plate, we add the fried vegetable, which increases the blood sugar by 20 units. So we have 20 plus 10. And then we had, let's say you want to put, what else? Oh, you want to put chapati 20 units out of there. And then let's work with that. How many units are those? 50. So your blood sugar is going to increase by 50 units. So if this was a diabetic patient who is reading 20 or 200 plus 50, after 2 hours, it will be reading to 50 or to 60. Yeah. So you have also to add that the oil 20 and the pasta for wheat. So that is 7. Yeah, you must look at those ingredients very keenly. And this goes for the cancer patient. By the way, the program that I use for the for the blood sugar patients can also work effectively for those who are having cancer. Because cancer feeds on sugar. So anything that adds sugar in the system will feed the cancer. Even brown sugar, good sugar. Yeah, even good sugar is just going to operate like when it is taken to the body, the good sugar, it is only good because it doesn't have the chemicals. Are you getting me? The other sugar has, the refined sugar has 7 chemicals added into it that make it more worse. But when it gets to the body, the sugar component that is being converted to glucose is the same. If you eat very deep fried food and someone eats meat, when it gets to the system, the body do not recognize that this ate meat, this ate a fried vegetable, because the end result is the same. Are you getting me? That is why if someone is eating deep fried foods and trying to condemn someone eating meat, you don't know what it means. When it gets to the system, the end result, the body recognizes it the same, because the product that is going to be achieved is the same. That is the logistic behind it. Fried food are just dangerous as meat, because it has a lot of oil and it gets to the system. The meat also have a lot of oil and fats. When you get to the system, that fat is going to act the same in the body. Now, the difference comes in when you use the good fat. Let's say, for instance, I'm using olive oil in the body. I'm using it when it is raw. It is not fried. It is not broken into free radicals that is going to be cancerous. So it is safe to use it in a limited quantity. Even if the person is having diabetes and you have the right oil, can be sunseed oil that is well refined or processed, it is good. But if you use it in large amount, it is just going to act like the meat or the other thing you're taking. You need to use limited amounts and not deep fried. So things like high protein diet that have a lot of oil, yes. That is good. You just use a limited amount, not a lot of it. Just limited, because that oil is also important for the disease to be cured. Without it, you will always be struggling. So let's say for a plate of a salad, the maximum tablespoon you can use is just 2 tablespoons. The maximum for a huge plate. But you can reduce it to 1. Are we together? Yeah. So you must understand those principles. Oil, when it is fried, it becomes cancerous. You are the same with someone eating meat. Now you look at in vegetables and fruits. If you have, I don't know if this can be expanded so that you can see. So it will not. Can you see something? Yeah, so for vegetables, you have to play around well with the vegetables. Vegetables and fruits help you to control the blood sugars. Like you see broccoli, cauliflower, or those greens reduces the blood sugar by 20 units. Vegetable salad, string beans, reduces it by 30 units. Do you know string beans? Do you know string beans? No, string beans are being sold in the market. String beans are being sold in the market.
As you said, for real.
Vegetables were used to like 20 units. Like whenever you're frying them, frying adds between so it's a bit balances.
What?
If vegetables were used to like 20 units, right? But whenever you fry with them, the oil which adds 10 units, so it's balancing.
Right, it's not balancing. Each is going to act its part. But if you fry them, you are going to denature them. Yeah, that is why it's good to add oil for the vegetables when it is almost cooked or under low heat. It should not be eaten. You know, deep frying. For example, those who put oil and add onion until the whole room is smelling.
Yes.
Yeah, and until it changes to golden brown. That is what I'm speaking about. You have just eaten meat in this, guys, because that oil is going to affect your vegetable. If you are to use oil, it should be under very low heat. It should not be like it is burning the food that you're trying to cook. Are we together? Yeah. So these are the string beans. Very good for diabetics. If you take the juice, just 1 cup, it is like you've given an insulin shot. You've injected the person with insulin to normalize the blood sugar. Yes.
French beans.
Yeah, it is French bean. Yes. How to? How to fry food. Chapatis. Now you must make sure that you control the heat. The pan should not be producing, when you put the oil and you put your chapati, there should not be smoke coming out. Everything. That's why the pan should be, the heat should be controlled. And you know, chapatis, if you want to cook chapatis well, it needs to cook really well. Do you know what I mean? If you are cooking posho, how long does it take in the fire to get ready? It is grains, right? And the grain should be cooked for several hours, right? That's a principle which applies in most of the grains. So if you have to cook our chapatis well, the heat should be low, a reasonable amount of oil, and then the best has always been laying them. I don't put this one first and remove another one. It will not be properly cooked. If you just take 1 minute, it's not going to be properly cooked. So the best method I've ever found is to lay them. You put the one and make them very light, and then when this one is ready, put another one on top, and then let this one cook and lay another one. Maybe around, you can do with the 3 or 4. By the time you are removing all of them, the heat, they concentrate it to one another, and then they will be cooked well. Yeah. Yeah, so chapatis, it really needs to take. So that is why we love more baking than the flat bread. If you don't know how to cook it properly, you better bake. Yeah, so if you are in raw diet, we are told it here it increases the blood counts by blood sugar levels by, you see here, by 30 units. Raw diet. Raw diet, it means that you are feeding on raw foods. It reduces that sugar very, very fast. So if we say, if, for instance, if the person was having blood sugar reading at 200 and they want to bring low, maybe by 50 units, we will give the green juices to increase it by 30 units, and then perhaps give the salad of broccoli or cauliflower or a salad of kale, if you know how to make it, to lower it and bring it down. At the end of it, you are going to see the combination we can make. So vegetables and fruits, and not sweet fruits, like bananas or so. They should be citrus fruits, grapes, or apples. You should note that down. You should note that down because it will help you. And this is applying even in cancer. Are you getting me? I'm giving you the principles. Now let's look at lifestyle practices that help you to make sure that the body is restored well and the blood sugars are reduced. So if the person is not walking, the blood sugar levels are going to increase by 20 units. Walking after meal. Eat and sit, the blood sugars are going to be increased. The same in cancer. If you don't eat well, and even pressure, the pressure levels are going to be increased. If it is cancer, the cancer cells are going to multiply rapidly. You get me? Yeah, so drinking with meals by 5 units. Water needs to be drunk an hour before the meal and 2 hours after the meal. Yes? An hour before meal and 2 hours after the meal. You need not to drink with your meals. And if you're making soup, it should be thick soup, not watery soup. Soup is very important in food. It should not be very light soup, a little bit thick. Or then no bowel movement. You are not going to the toilet, it increases it by 20 units. By 20 units. Eating late at night, it increases the problem by 20 units. Drinking 8 and above glasses of water reduces by 5 units. Are you getting me? And then we have no drinking water increases your blood sugars by 10 units. These lifestyle practices are very important. Walking after meal. Walking after meals reduces by 20 units. And then we have less than 6 hours of sleep increases it by 5 units. Do you see that? Yeah, so you need to know what to incorporate in a diet plan to make sure that you achieve the result. So let's say someone was having a problem of blood sugar. This patient comes with blood sugar ranging between 180, and you want to lower it to 10. What suggestions will you have in diet? Number one, let's look at the lifestyle practices. Which lifestyle practices do you want to be followed? Yes? Walking after meal. So that will reduce it. So I have a column. I'm teaching. This is the last part of it, and then we are ending this class. So that will reduce it by 20. What else? Drinking water 1 hour before the meal will reduce it by how many units? 5 units. So that we are at 25. Taking enough water. 20 glasses. 8 glasses by -5. So these lifestyle practices cut across the whole day. So if I begin the day with it, it will cater for the whole day. So for instance, if I wake up in the morning, the person is having 180, I did the exercise, I did drinking of water, sleeping well, that's 25, or that 25 exercise is 30, -5 plus 5 is 45, -20 is 50. So I will just subtract that on the first counting. If it was 180, and that is going to be done the whole day, so I minus 50. I minus that 55. What do I get? 125. Yeah, so once I've subtracted that, I will not add it again the next meal. The patient is going to eat the first meal and then waiting after 5 hours, eat another meal. So this is going to cut the whole thing. So let's say the person was doing the exercise and drinking water, sleeping well. I will subtract that 55. So I am at 125. Now we have the first meal that I want to give. Which meal will you give? And remember, we have 3 servings only. Spirit of Prophecy advises us to give only not more than 3 servings. You don't, a serving here means types of the foods that are there. We have posho, we have chapati, we have rice, we have potatoes, so let's say we have all those. So I am supposed only to have 3 components of food in my diet. If it is legumes with rice, with maybe vegetable, that is enough for your body, even if you're not sick. Are we together? Yeah. So following that principle, we want to have 3 food stuff that we are going to combine to lower it. What are you going to give? Remember, here we had the vegetables, and here we have the fat and the oils, and the fat and the oils and most of the proteins increases it. And then we have carbohydrates, only millet and sorghum and buckwheat, it lowers it. So what are you going to give? So you're going to have sorghum, -5. So write -5. What else are you going to serve your sorghum with? Salad. You know, when you are dealing with the patient, make sure you make your patient to know that this is not jail. They are not in jail. Are we together? Yeah, make them to laugh. So you must prepare something very appetizing and good. So you're going to serve it with salad. Well, that is good, but it also depends on how you're going to prepare the what? The salad. Some people just cut, you've cut the dark green leafy vegetables and everything, and garlic and onion, the way it is, you bring it to the patient. That patient will not recover unless his mind is into it. Make sure that the patient is ready, prepared mentally and everything. You must learn to prepare food. So you can steam some carrots and some spring beans, and then you marinate with some maybe cashew nut paste, and then give the patient. You can put alongside with some millet. It will lower the blood sugar. Okay, and nuts should be raw, handful of nuts, very important in the diabetic blood. So you will give, someone will give these raw foods and do the combination. But what you need to understand is that let it not be below 4. If you're going to sleep at night and it is below 4, then this person should not sleep with that low blood sugar. Give something sweet. You can give 2 bananas or give sweet fruit. So that when the time the person is going to sleep, let it be at 5 or 6. That is better. But let him or her not go to sleep with a low blood sugar below 4. You can reduce it, by the way. If you begin in the morning, in the evening, it is very low. If it is ranging between 6 to 10, then the person can just go sleep. But if it is too low, below 4, never allow that person to sleep like that. He may wake up in the morning very weak and even die. So learn, you need to be monitoring those things. And then it comes a time when the blood sugars will now be reading the same. If it is between 4 to 6, it is constantly that for even 3 days, then know that that person has been cured. Usually diabetes should take just 10 days if you have the right things to give. 21 days, the person should be normalizing or normal completely. But between the first 10 days, sugar level should always be common. So these are some of the things you can use, some of the herbal remedies you can use for normalizing the blood. Cinnamon, it lowers it by 5 units. Insulin plant by 30 units. I don't know if you've ever seen that plant. But I want to give you a simple formula here you can use that is available. Guava leaves. Write that down because those I want to give you things that are common. Guava leaves. We have mango leaves, and then couch grass, pawpaw leaves. Are you noting them down? Oxalis, you know oxalis? The sweet sour plant that grows in the garden. You don't know it? You don't know oxalis?
Yeah, I know it.
You don't know oxalis? Oxalis is sour. It's something like this. Oxalis, you can get the juice of this thing alone and give the person 1 liter a day. And the person exercises and eats properly, and you manage blood sugars. Are you getting me? Yes. You can get cypress leaves with eucalyptus leaves, with the lemongrass leaves, with all other the diet control, and you manage sugar. To me, just diet alone and exercise and drinking water is enough to bring a breakthrough. You don't need these other things. Yes.
Doctor, I have a friend.
Yes.
She injects herself that stuff.
Yes.
Is she beyond what we're discussing?
No, she's not beyond what we're discussing. But now, when you're going to meet a patient who's on drugs and you don't know what to do, it is better to allow that person to reduce the drugs bit by bit. Are you getting me? Someone will be excited and go and remove everything, yet it doesn't supply that which the drug was doing. You better reduce. If it is 3 times, the drug is taken 3 times a day, reduce by 1. Yeah, until maybe after 2 weeks, you can't be completely out of it and you see what to be. You must know what to give, the right foods, the right medicine or herbs to use. Any disease, whether high blood pressure or cancer or diabetes, never tell someone to leave the drug if you don't know what the exact thing you're going to do. And if you're not thorough, if you're not what? Thorough, you must just fix that which that drug is going to fix. Yes, what was your question?
This type 1 diabetes, how to do it?
The type 1 diabetes, the remedies I'm doing here are just the same. You can use them.
They can break down beta cells to life because in one day. So they come back.
Yeah, so these remedies and those foodstuffs are to make the pancreas to come and work. Yes.
No, my question is, how will you identify
Yes.
the type of diabetes this person will have? Or we shall use the medical instruments that are in Babylon to test the type of diabetes.
Yeah, those instruments are very important for us to do a checkup and know what is being. It is not a sin to use them. It is not a sin to use them, but we want to make sure that we know what we are doing, During the time of the pioneers, their institution, the battle grade and those sanitariums were having these instruments to do the the checkups. We should even have the hemographs to check the blood sugars and know the components of blood, because we want to work with what we know. You do a test. Yeah, and sometimes I send my patient, go and do a checkup and bring me that so that I can compare. Are we together? Yeah. So you need to make sure that you give the right foodstuffs to make sure that the patient gets well. Yes.
Pumpkin.
Yes.
Since we're learning the daily health position,
Yes.
pumpkin.
Juice, yes, you can. Any dark green leafy vegetables can be dodo, it can be ebo, it can be, you give concentrated juice and should be maybe a liter a day. You can add some carrots in that to at least sweeten it. And still you're going to achieve a result. Yes.
Can we say that this patient is beyond not very many?
No, it works with the will of God. And also you as a physician, you must be convinced that and know and be capable to handle. If it is beyond you to handle, it is better to cancel with another person. But there's no any other case that Christ has ever left beyond. And perhaps this person is coming at that serious stage so that you can prepare him to die, so that he dies in Christ. Are we together? Yeah, so you must understand that.
I just want to say that physicians think that the physical part of the medical missionary is what is important. Actually, the medical missionary practitioner has to understand that the spiritual part is the most important, because you will not revive everyone. People may go to sleep, they may die, but let their hearts be prepared as you do whatever you're doing.
That is true. You must make sure that this person is prepared. Any person you get, some of them will not recover. Some of them will not recover. They have just come there to be prepared for death. Are we together? So you do your part. You make sure that this person is ready for heaven. But try as much as possible what God tells you. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah, so some are meant to be sick for the glory of God so that they can either die for the glory of God. You know that? But you may not know. But what you should be doing is making sure that you are preparing this person for Christ and doing as much as you can to the extent that the Lord has revealed for you.
And then there's something she says that the patients are not to be taught doctrines.
Yeah.
Just invite them to Christ. It is not time to tell somebody you have been breaking the Sabbath. The Sabbath is Saturday is the Sabbath. That is not what you must be telling the patient. Introduce him to Christ, that he cares for him, and prepare him. Doctrines after they are healed. Doctrines are not for patients when you are attending to them.
Yeah.
We see these mistakes being done, and then the patient despairs and then dies. If they are going to die, they die losing their hope.
Yeah, you do not, the controversial issue about the Sabbath, the beasts, and those other things, leave them alone for the time that God will do what a point. Do you know that Christ healed some people that did not follow him at long last? As a medical missionary, do good at the right time and leave the result to God. Yeah, thank you. Most of the time is not to make sure that we press our beliefs on the people. I want to end here by reading all this. When we have prayed for the recovery of the sick, whatever the outcome of the case, let us not lose faith in God. If we are called upon to meet bereavement, let us accept the bitter cup, remembering that our Father's hand holds it to our lips. But should health be restored, it should not be forgotten that the recipient of healing mercy is placed under renewed obligation to the Creator. Do you find that? So that should be our principle. Now, I'd like us to pray and then end there. Our most gracious Father, what in heaven, we thank you for your blessing. We thank you for educating us in the way of life. We pray, dear God, that you may continue to guide and instruct us into the path and the way of life, that we may receive your life eternal. Let us be a blessing to those whom you are calling us unto. For this we pray, trust and believing in Jesus' name.